to Manchester City. They were the two outstanding.
They're or not, are going to have a spell of time on the ball where they can hurt you. But if you're going to give them chances like that,
Back 2 games under our belt, no goals in the first one, although as we'll talk about a little bit later on, there should have been for Sheffield United. That was 0-0 and 3-0 to Manchester City. They were the two outstanding games to be played. So now every single team has 9 matches left of this season. And this is how it looks towards the top. City on to 60 points now. Arsenal have missed the opportunity to close any kind of gap on those teams above them. Remember, Spurs there in 8th on 41 points, play 5th place Manchester United on Friday. Villa had the opportunity to get out of the drop zone tonight, but that point just nudges them up to 26, still 1 shy of Bournemouth, Watford and West Ham, and that set of teams are 2 behind Wright. And Michael as well, but we can now get the thoughts of the Manchester City boss, Pep Guardiola.
Pep, apart from the injury to Eric Garcia, was that everything you wanted tonight?
Yeah, we are a little bit concerned. He responds quite well, but we have to wait. What's going to happen next hours about Eric. But yeah, of course, it's the first game. You never know what's going to happen for the fact that a long time without playing and the first days to see. But a part of Eric, no injuries, and in some moments we play good.
How bad is Eric Garcia? Is he conscious? Is he going to hospital?
He's conscious right now. He's conscious. That is a good sign. But I think it's going to make an extra test, maybe in hospital.
There were many questions before the game as to what would it be like. What did you learn from tonight? What questions for you were answered?
Well, in the beginning, it was a lot of energy. We knew it. Everybody wants to know after 3 months off, and it was not quiet. And we had, after 20 minutes, we had chances because we had. And after we scored 2 goals, it was important to score before the halftime, our goal. And in the second one, and the penalty and sent off, where the situation is completely different for the fact that Arsenal played 10 against 11. But in general, after that, I cannot say anything else than be happy about the performance for the team and everyone. And I see in a good shape the team, and that is a good signal for the next games.
I get an opportunity, I just need to take it, and that's what I've done today.
Was that strange, the celebration? Because obviously you've got to try and social distance.
Yeah. No, I think we've got to remain, with all the safety tips, but at the same time it's football, and the last couple of days all the boys have tested negative, so I think we celebrated in the right manner. We weren't too close, but little fist bumps can't hurt anyone.
Also, of course, before the game, another very powerful message as all players took the knee. Tell us the thoughts behind that and what you're hoping that type of gesture can achieve.
I just see it as a massive step for the Premier League to allow something like that to happen. It shows we're going in the right direction, and little by little we're seeing change, and that's what everyone's hoping for, not just black players. I think the majority of the country, so it was great to see.
How did it evolve?
I think just natural. I think it's organic. I think that's the most important thing. We've seen other teams do it, and earlier kick-off, and I think it's something that we thought we had to do as well.
Eric Garcia, obviously a horrible injury. You were out on the pitch. You couldn't get too close, but how did he look to you, or how did he seem?
Eric had a fantastic game. He came in and fitted in really well, composed. It was sad to see him go off like that, but seeing him on the pitch, at first he looked pretty bad, but after a little bit he looked himself a little bit, but only time will tell.
Well, our thoughts and best wishes are with Eric Garcia. It's his second ever Premier League start. It was some blow that he took as well, Michael, wasn't there?
Yeah, the momentum of the goalkeeper coming towards him as well. It's almost like doubles the speed, doesn't it, when you're running one way and the goalkeeper's running the other. The goalkeeper wins the ball abroad. He wins the ball properly, and it's just it's one of those things, isn't it? You can't do much about it, I guess. And I just hope the young lad's all right, because he played particularly well today. It's a position that he could make his own. You know, there's a gap there, isn't there, to play alongside Laporte. That's a sad sight, but hopefully he's back on his feet soon.
Yeah, I just echo what Michael said there. You know, the goalkeeper, who was, again, Edison, was brilliant today. And his starting position, you can see there, and his commitment was evident to see. You know, all he saw was the ball coming through, and he went to win it. And you listen to what Raheem said there, Raheem Sterling said there. He says they've all had to find it. You know, the managers asked them for that, the commitment to raise your game, to go for it. And the goalkeeper looked to me like it didn't make no difference. He was playing in front of no people or 100,000 people. He went for a ball that he thought he should win, and he did. And unfortunately, Garcia got the bad end of it, but I'm sure he'll be fine.
Let's hope so. Raheem Sterling talking about the fact that he knew he'd score eventually in this calendar year. He set them on their way with a helping hand.
Certainly a helping hand, yeah. David Luiz turn away now. He gets so much time there to actually get his body between the ball. But just look at the Raheem Sterling there. We highlighted him as run. It's a good run. It's a well-timed run. He stays on side, and then he picks the perfect finish. As I say, even though he's only close, I think you've got to go high in that situation. And Leno had a fantastic game, but he couldn't do anything about that. It was a sweet strike from Sterling and broke the deadlock.
David Luiz had 25 minutes, pretty forgettable minutes on the pitch.
Yeah, he did. And it's unfortunate because, like I say, he's a very good pro. He's very good in the dressing room, but he does tend to have days of magnificence and some days of real poor performances. And unfortunately today, 25 minutes he had really cost Arsenal, simply because I thought they were doing well to hang in. There was a little bit of play that was going on that could have caused Man City's problems. It didn't, but here he's got himself too close. I think you have to give Mahrez credit for that chest, getting himself in that position, but then David Luiz is too close. And now he's in trouble. He's reaching, he's grabbing, and he's pulling there. And, you know, the referee's got a very good look at it. And, you know, he's sent him off as well. So double the jeopardy for Arsenal. And I didn't think he was going to miss. It's surprising that he hasn't been taking them. But like him from 12 yards, as good as the goalkeeper was playing, I didn't think he was going to get near that one, and he didn't, unfortunately.
And when you're 10 men away at a team like Manchester City, the way they were knocking it around, it's a nightmare scenario for Arsenal, isn't it?
The worst. I think the only good thing for them is there was no fans there watching, because you end up looking at the clock thinking, quick, tick along and let's get back home, because you've got no chance. You know, you're playing against a brilliant team like Manchester City and you're 2-0 down at the time. And then this was the icing on the cake. And we just highlight here, look at the amount of men that Arsenal had back. And the fewer, you know, there's only 2 Manchester City players in this attack. Of course, Phil Foden joins at the end, but, you know, you wonder how you can't mark 2 players. You wonder how they don't even get a touch on the ball by the time it ends up in the back of the net. And yeah, it wasn't Arsenal's night today. They showed glimpses in the first half, but Man City were by far the best team.
Even there, you see the goalkeeper got a little touch on Aguero's, touched it onto the post, but Phil Foden done well to follow that in. But I can't stress enough how great Leno was tonight. Great, brilliant he was.
We're going to talk to our good friend, your former teammate, Arsenal title winner Lee Dixon now, who's been watching that. Painful watch for you as well, Lee?
That's why I'm sitting in a darkened room. It's got to that point now. Yeah, he was disappointing after a reasonably bright start. I thought they started the game quite well. They changed the lineup a little bit, and it was fresh, and there was a bit of energy in there. And then Nketiah caused a few problems in the first 5-10 minutes, but then once City found their passing and they started to find some space in the really dangerous areas, their midfield is just an absolute joke. I mean, how do you get close to them? They've got so many options in midfield. I think that was the biggest thing that stood out for me today, was the 2 differences in the midfield and how City make it so easy, so many options on the ball. And De Bruyne's he's world class, and he's got 2 or 3 world class players around him in that midfield area. So it was men against boys. It really was. And if you're going to stand a chance against City, you've got to play really well. You've got to hope they don't play so well, and you've got to keep all your men on the pitch. And unfortunately, with David Luiz, there's always a chance of him either making a mistake or getting himself sent off, and he did double tonight. So it was a poor night in the end for Arsenal, but City were brilliant.
Lee, I was going to ask you, obviously a defender that made very few mistakes during their career. What do you do as a manager if you've got a defender like David Luiz that just constantly makes mistakes? Of course, we know how good a player he is. He's brilliant on the ball. He's got a bit of pace and strength. But can you just brush those to the side, or do you just have to make a change eventually?
Yeah, no, you sell him or give him away. I mean, it's gone on too long, and I'm not nothing personal against David Luiz, but we've all watched the mistakes he makes. I'm never, even when he's playing really well and he seems in control of the game, and he's in, especially at home, he's got that lovely language style about him and he finds his passing. I always think any moment now, and it must be an absolute dream to play against. I mean, Wrighty would play in him all day. He would stand in the certain areas and make him uncomfortable. And even if he didn't get a kick right, he'd know that he'd get one chance. And Ian and yourself, Michael, would probably score that chance. So as a striker playing against him, doesn't matter how bad you're playing or how well he's playing, you're always in the game because you fancy a chance that he's going to give you something.
What would you do with him, Lisa? Sell him, give him away?
Well, I think Dicko's, playing in front of Dicko and the guys for so many years, and they didn't make mistakes like that. Never saw anything. I'd love to say that Martin Keown did, just so as he can wind him up, but not even he made many mistakes. But yeah, you think at this stage of David Luiz's career and where Arsenal are going, is unfortunate for Pablo Mari tonight, but I probably have to agree with Dicko there. Maybe it might be time, unfortunately, for David Luiz, because he is apparently very good in the dressing room. He's got a lot of experience, but I think what we saw with quite a young team, an experienced player like that making those mistakes, it literally drained them. And you could see after a while, Man City are going to get in control, and you really have an uphill task after that. So I'll probably go with what Dicko said there.
See what it is, Steve. He puts himself in a position like that goal there, giving the penalty away, because he makes rash decisions. He's got a good footballing brain, but he makes rash decisions, goes in too early. And then once he goes in, he knows then he's made a mistake. And then the next one is a catch-up. And invariably, because of the quality of the strikers in the Premier League, that catch-up is a foul, or it's a second mistake. So that's where his trouble lies, but it's his first initial decision-making.
Okay. More from Lee in a moment. Yeah, and of course, those games not only in the Premier League, but they're really good at keeping shape, Lee, for those Champions League eventually and FA Cup matches, which are huge.